Thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Robert and I'm here with my colleague Yinka. This session's topic is 2023 product review and what's to come. But before we start, I just want to let you know that this webinar is recorded. All our webinars are recorded and will be uploaded to Zedonkopedia. The videos that we'll be uploading can be replayed at a slower or faster playback rate, and they will include closed captions as well, or subtitles. This session will be about 30 minutes, so I will now hand over to Yinka to tell you about this webinar structure.
Hi everyone, I hope you've all been enjoying Zedonk Day. So just to give you an overview of what we'll cover in today's webinar, in the first part we'll be going over a selection of recent updates made to the system in the past year and what to expect in the upcoming months from our product team will be covered in the second part of this webinar. So if we get started with the first new feature of the system in the past year, as some of you may have already noticed, within the connectors area of the system, we have recently updated this area to be a bit more refreshed. And the most common or the most important thing to note with this area is the loading time has gone from an average of 30 seconds to now 2 to 3 seconds. So you can jump into this area a lot quicker and finish your work, complete your work within this area a lot quicker. So again, making your working more efficient in Zedonk. For the next update we've made to the system, or further to these updates we made to the system, within the connectors area, you can search within your activity log to get a bit more information to do with the statuses of the actions you conduct on your connectors. So for example, you can search for specific references and you can check the export or import status. And with these details, you can also export them to CSV format for further troubleshooting. The next update we've made is that very simply, the allocation module has been renamed to stock allocation, just to make it a bit clearer about what this module will actually help you to do. For the next update, we have allowed for the option for you to now change the season of your purchase orders and your dockets. It's just important to note that with your dockets, this can't be actioned if the docket is linked to any sales orders in transits or bookings, active or inactive, and any dispatch notes. And with the purchase order, this again will be if there are no bookings applied. For the next update we've made, your purchase orders and dockets can be copied. When they are copied, the products or raw materials relevant to those purchase orders or dockets will be automatically made visible in the new season you have copied them into. For the next update, you again may have already noticed that you can now change the size categories of your products, even if they're on any open sales or production orders in your system. You will just kind of tell the system which sizes will now belong to the new sizes, confirm the changed size category, and you will be able to do so accordingly. For the next update, we've just added a few bulk actions to the sales order area, so you can remove a product from multiple sales orders, swap a product from multiple sales orders, and create invoices for delivery notes, all via bulk actions within the orders area. And then if we move on to the next update we have, within the digital showroom module, once an order is submitted via the portal by one of your clients, if you do need to go back and kind of revert that sales order submission, you now have the option to unsubmit sales orders back into a portal or selection for your buyer to go back into and then resubmit accordingly. Again, this can only be done if there are no sub-documents or linked dockets to the originally submitted sales order. Just as a kind of final overview, we've added some further warehouse integrations to our kind of collection. Allen Group, Mazzoleni and Fakori, TSG and LP are 4 new warehouse integrations we currently support on the system. That would be it in terms of what we have added to the system in the past, or the highlights of what we added to the system in the past year. We'll now hand over to Brad and our product team to go over what to expect in the upcoming launches and updates to the system.
Hello everyone, my name is Brad. I head up the product and integrations team here at Zedonk. I'm just going to go very quickly through with you one development that we are going to be deploying towards the end of summer 2023, and 2 other developments that we are hoping to go live by the end of this year. Just want to quickly take a step back and say thank you to, as always, to all of our clients for all of your feedback. It really does shape where the product does go in the future. So please keep giving your feedback, and we will make sure from our end that Zedonk continues to be a software that really does add value to your business. Now, without further ado, let's have a little look into our first development that should be going live towards the end of 2023 summer. It is called multi-location. Now, some people may call this multiple warehouses. Depends on basically your size of business. But just to take a step back, as you guys know, in Zedonk you have your seasons, and within each of these seasons you have a single product stock inventory pool. Now, this development allows you to have multiple stock pools, N number, within a specific season. Now, this can cover any size of the business. Okay, you have the different type of businesses where you're on a bit of a smaller size, you have a single stock pool, and you may want to have a quarantine location additionally, or you may want to have e-com, or you may be on the other side of the business where you have multiple warehouses in a single country, you may have multiple quarantine locations, you may have POS stores, and you may also have an e-com. Now, Zedonk in this development we have done can cover all of those different scenarios, which obviously I'm sure you'll be very happy to hear. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to give you a very basic run through of this functionality. Now, after this, please feel free to email in any questions you have to our client success team regarding any logics, or if you want a specific demo on it. We will be very happy to assist with you. But I'm just going to give everyone a very basic run through right now. So, obviously, we have some settings which decide your locations. Now, the example I'm going to be running through now are a generic one, in my opinion, which is an e-com stock pool, which generally with a lot of our clients is Shopify. We have our head office, and we also have a warehouse. Now, I'm just going to show you that we have thought of all the logics and all the scenarios that Zedonk always does on the back end, is that each location can have a defined rule on how it can be used in the system. So if I look at e-com, for example, it can have orders fulfilled from this location, it can receive production, and it could also receive those dreaded customer returns. However, my warehouse, it cannot take returns, okay? Every return, whether it's a B2B or a B2C order, for example, always comes back to my head office because that's how my business wants to work, and we want to QC it internally. We obviously have your addresses, which you're very much used to, and then we have a priority. You'll see here that the warehouse does not appear because it is not a return location. Now, all of this screen will make a little bit more sense when we go into the production book in, book out of the system. So let me take you through the journey. The first thing I want to show you is that each customer in Zedonk has a new field added, which is location. This can be updated or changed either through CSV or bulk actions. And if we then move into orders, when you are creating orders for that customer, the location automatically pulls from the customer record. Okay, same way that all these other data fields, for example, work. You can, however, decide to fulfill that order from a different location if you did want to. Okay, there's bulk actions here as well for changing locations, CSV imports, etc., everything you kind of expect. So just want to take you through the journey. I'm going to create a new order, choosing Fenwick. I can see that my location has pulled through automatically to my warehouse, which is actually which will be fulfilling this order. So I'm just going to put some couple of units on, just so we can make a production order together. Just one thing to add as well, you'll see that the location has been added to my grid view. This is available with all of the grids that are affected by this development, such as customers, orders, product stock inventory, production booking book out, and production analysis, which we're just about to have a look at. So if I go and have a little look at this production, I can see that I have 3 sales orders. Obviously, 2 of them I made earlier. So very simply, I'm going to create a single production order for this manufacturer. Now, Zedonk is going to do all the clever stuff on the back end, which is what you're going to see here. You'll notice the new additional tab that has appeared, and we're going to go through that in a little bit of detail. So I want to autofill absolutely all of those products. So I am placing an order for 2 products, and as you can see, my total quantity. Now, if I go on to the Ship To tab, this is part of the new development. So what is it doing? It is doing that the balance still remains the stock figure that you guys are all completely used to, 664, but it is telling me, using the data from production analysis, which is pulled from the sales order area, to tell me which location those 6 units should be shipped to. So it's telling me that 4 should go to my warehouse, and 2 should go to my e-com, for example. All very dynamic and the way that you kind of expect it to work. So I'm just going to zero it out, and I'm going to click autofill. There's a little warning here that, for example, if I produce more products, so I increase the quantity on the product tab compared to the linked sales orders, it would assign the extra quantities to the top location, which is defined in my settings. So I'm just going to click yes, and everything is good. So we have created a production order. Now, there's lots of little clever things here. We've obviously got the ship to locations that pull from the settings, for example. We can see on the docket details here that it is multiple locations because it doesn't specify the location. You always have the option as well in Zedonk that if I did have an additional location that I wanted to start actually producing some stock for it, to add it to this production order, I would be able to tick it additionally here as well. So not only have we thought about the way that you create your sales orders from production analysis, you also have the way that if you create a production order from this button here, I can decide to just, for example, make one for the location warehouse. It will pull through all of the figures that you're very used to. But let's say, for example, all of a sudden I want to actually have my other location as part of this PO. I can very simply come here, include it on my production order, and you'll now see that that Ship To tab has now appeared. So basically the system knows that there is multiple locations linked to a single production order. PDFs are available for all of this information as well, which is absolutely great. So next step is booking in that stock. We obviously always want that stock to be booked in Zedonk because we want to then use it in our product stock inventory. We want to allocate it. If you've got the stock allocation tool, you want to create your delivery notes, your invoices, etc., etc. So in the booking area, obviously there is all the modules that you expect have been updated to give you the split by location. But very simply, if I go into the booking area, I decide which type of document I want to create. In this example, I'm going to do a booking. I'm going to create a booking for my location warehouse. And I can see the pending quantity here is according to the original production book out. So I'm going to book all of this stock in just against my warehouse. So as you can see, we've also got the location drop here, but there is no stock that has been booked in for the e-com at the moment. So that stock is still pending. This is the reason why you can still see the pending quantity here, which is what you expect. So let's go on to the next step. If you have the stock allocation tool, you have to define a location when entering the area. So if I click on warehouse, for example, it will only show me sales orders that one have the location warehouse assigned to it. And secondly, it will only show me the stock available that is in the warehouse location. If I very simply change this to ecom, I have no stock in that location in Zedonk, even though I have outstanding orders, therefore no data shows up on this screen. Brilliant. So step, which is product stock inventory, for our users who are aware of our raw material inventory, this screen should be a little bit familiar. We have a drop down in the middle of the page, which has 4 different options in my system, which is all locations, which would show the grand total for the figures in the season. And then we also then have it split out by location. Now, very simply, if I was, for example, on all locations and I clicked on this sold figure here, it would simply show me the grand total. As you can see, that I have 4 in my warehouse and I have 2 in my ecom location within my system. All of these modals across this screen have been completely updated. So they all give, if you click on any of the figures, it gives you an updated calculation on how that works, which is fantastic news. Now, in this area, there has been some other fundamental changes, not to the calculations, which you'll all be very happy to hear, but as you can see, there's a couple of new buttons here. So, very simply, what is stock transfers? Now, at the start of the video, I mentioned that there is an example where our clients are starting to have more actual physical POS stores. So we have allowed that people can do stock transfers between locations, whether it is virtually or physically. If I click into this area now, it should hopefully look very similar to the sales order area that you are very used to. Now we have 3 different types of documents. We have a transfer request, which is also known as a order. We have a transfer ticket, which is a PIT ticket, which you'll be well aware of if you have the allocation module. And just to let you know, transfer requests will show up in the allocation module, so you can treat it just like a normal order. And then we have a transfer note, also known as a delivery note. Now, just for our clients who are integrated with warehouses, with Zedonk, you will be able to click the send button on transfer tickets through your integration as if they're a PIT ticket completely, and the warehouse will receive that data. They'll send their usual data back to Zedonk, and that transfer ticket will convert to a transfer note in Zedonk, which is fantastic news. Now, if I was just to show you some different functionalities, there's been different documents on a transfer note. Not only can you mark it as shipped and add in your tracking number, you can also mark it as received. Now, just to show you one thing in this area is that when you are actually creating a transfer request, there is 2 different options of how you would like to create it. One being a manual receipt and one being an automatic receipt. A manual receipt is where the system will create the transfer request for you, which I will do this for you now. So I am moving stock from my head office to my warehouse location. As you can see, the addresses are populated with the 2 different locations. And if I was just to put some stock in here, you'll see that no automatic sub-documents have been created. Obviously, these documents all have an impact on the inventory as you expect. ATS, work in progress figures, projected stock, etc., etc. So this would be an example if you actually wanted to manually ship the goods domestically, or you wanted to send them to your warehouse. Or it may actually be like a store request. You have to actually ship the goods from the head office, for example. We do have the other option, which is an automatic receipt, which is, as it explains, is that if I put any quantities on here, you'll see that there is a yellow banner that is created. And if I go into the transfer ticket area, you'll see that the transfer note has automatically been created, it's been locked, it's been shipped, and it's been received. So this will probably be quite a common occurrence if you are using locations in Zedonk, not just physically as per the manual way, but if you're using them virtually, okay? we can see a very much a need for this if you're moving stock, for example, from your warehouse to your e-com, but you're managing that in Zedonk virtually, okay? So that is transfer tickets. There's obviously lots of more clever things it can do, but we're trying to keep this short little demo a little bit lighter. The other area I wanted to show you, which will be stock check, is that a lot of people have been asking for Zedonk to have a functionality to do stock check. As you all know, we do have a way at the moment to do data input on stock counts, but actually someone wants to be in the system doing a stock count at the same time. Now, not only has this new functionality been optimized for our scanning module, it can actually be used manually as well. So I'm just going to give you an example. We have the scenario that I am doing a stock take on my own. So I may go into the head office location. I'm going to start a stock check. It asks me which products do I want to include, etc., etc. Now I can see who's in this stock take in one go. We'll move on to the reason why I can see that information. And very simply, if I put in some quantities here, for example, I can spend as long as I want to making this stock count. As I want, that if I decide to leave the stock check for any reason, such as going on a lunch break or to do some other work in Zedonk, when I come back into this stock area, you'll see that it says continue. And as you can see, my figures have been saved here. Now we have some great functionality also as part of this, that we can basically track which user is in a stock check. You can run multiple stock checks per location per season, and actually you can even join a colleague stock check. We obviously have the logic to stop you exiting. So my colleague, for example, has started a stock check in warehouse location in the season multi-location demo, and I can actually click on the stock check button. I can click continue stock check. It would have said join on the very first occasion, and I would actually see the figures that that person has already inputted. We're doing some very clever logic that basically every 1 minute this refresh button will go orange if another user has scanned in or put in some specific quantity. And then when you obviously go to submit the stock quantity, it will combine the stock levels from the two users, being clever, and it will do your required stock changes. And just to show, I have a nice little overview here to see which stock checks are going on in which location and with which season in Zedonk. Fantastic. So that pretty much covers everything on multi-location. Obviously reports will be updated to show this new data. But if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm more than happy to give some clients any demos on this sort of functionality, and hopefully you will enjoy this new functionality just as much as we are. The next two developments we have planned for 2023, with the first being a development we are calling product versions. Now, what is product versions? Now, in Zedonk at the moment, you can create a product costings record. You assign a default manufacturer to the product, and that is your default manufacturer throughout the seasons. Now, what we are doing is that you are going to be able to create a version of a product, so therefore you can have a different manufacturer assigned to a different season. Now, let me give you an example of how that would work. I have product A is produced by manufacturer 1 in spring summer 20. If I then decide that that product should be produced by a different manufacturer, let's call it manufacturer 2, in spring summer 23 for example, I can actually copy that version of a product, create a new version with the new manufacturer assigned, which therefore means not only do I have great data and accurate data moving forward, it means that my historical data remains the same. Think of it this way. In Zedonk at the moment, the cost, the wholesale price, and RRP price is independent by season. Now, not only with the versioning can you then have an independent version per season, we're also going one step further. There's a lot of different attributes in Zedonk in the product costings area, as such as category 1 to 5, some of your country of origins, your HTS codes, etc. These will all become version specific. So this is going to be a great functionality into Zedonk. It's something that everyone has been asking for, and we will be able to provide more details on how this functionality will actually work, which fields existing in the product costings area will actually be version specific at a later date once we are further down the development roadmap. However, this has already started from a technical point of view, so you should be hearing some great things from us in the next couple of months with a few more snippets of how this functionality will work, obviously then providing you guys with an ETA on this project, which is fantastic. Final major development we have left outstanding for this year is what we are calling an analytics / a dashboard. Okay, now one of the things that everyone's been asking for is more of an interactive and engaging way for you to be able to see the data that you have spent your time putting into Zedonk being displayed in a more visual way. Okay, we basically call it linking the numbers to the visuals, basically. Now, Zedonk's reports area is great. It will remain. It has all of the data you could ever need. But a lot of our clients are asking, not only do you want the data to be there available for you to go and pull it, which is what our reports area is for, is that actually you'd like to log into Zedonk and your dashboard would actually just show you the data you're already looking for. So what we are planning on doing, we are planning on making a couple of different dashboards, which would be job related, such as sales, logistics, accounting, etc., things like that. It would have maybe 6 to 8 widgets on your home screen. You'll have the option to flip it back to the lovely traditional squares if you still like them. But basically, you'll be able to see all of your dashboard as soon as you log into the system. Now, this is invaluable. Okay. Now, this will come towards the end of 2023. We'll keep absolutely everyone, as always, posted on this development. Now, just wanted to say as I wrap up, thank you very much, as always, for all of your feedback on the software. It really does have an impact on where we go with our development. And I'm now going to hand you back over to the client success team. Thank you.
Thank you very much again for that, Brad. That was really, really interesting to see. I hope you have all enjoyed Zedonk Day today. Again, if you do have any questions, please feel free to submit a ticket to the help desk and we'll get back to you there. Or you can access it from the help button at the top. But yeah, we'll be saying goodbye now. Thank you all for joining. And yeah, happy Zedonk Day.